Oh my goodness. Do I really have a video after, I think it's been a little over 2 years? Yeah, I moved to Vermont and finally been making some hobby time and been slowly in little bits here and there working on a Stormcast Eternals army, and I had kind of a cool effect I wanted to show you guys. So hope you like it. What we're going to be doing, and it's pretty easy to do, is this cool little Nebulous style effect. Right, it looks pretty rad, and it's pretty easy to get to. I think I'm going to move. Oh boy, I don't know if I can really move the light, and the video's already started, so I think you guys are just going to have to deal with it. It's a good light for me, but let's see if you guys can really see what's going on with any luck. So what we're going to do is airbrush up a couple layers, and this is something you really just kind of get to play around with and get a feel for, but I want to show you how I go about it. And I guess first things first, I'm going to kick on that airbrush. And I kind of start with a dark color and then work up towards light and then kind of work back to dark again. And you'll see what I mean as I go along here. So first things first, I've just got a purple here, Moss from Minotaur, but any purple will do. Part of the trick to this as well is you do want colors with a lot of saturation. You want these colors to kind of pop, as it were. So I'm going to put a couple drops in the old airbrush here. Nothing too crazy, because I'm just going to do this one model at a time. And we got paint coming, and we knocked over our model already, so that's a great start. One of the things I did when I first started doing this was really look at pictures of what a nebulous kind of effect like that looks like, just to get an idea. So it's probably worthwhile looking at that and seeing if there's certainly a ton of colors you can use. I like this kind of blue, purple, pinkish, and it kind of matches the rest of the scheme that I'm going for here. What I'm going to do, though, is part of the effect that I want isn't just completely random. If we look at this guy before we get going here. The tips of all those little wings, to try to make it stand out, I've tried to make bright. And this one isn't as good of an example. This was almost like one of my test models for this. But along the edges right here, I'm going to try to make that a little brighter, so it kind of looks like light, radiating from the wings where it's coming out. So let's get to it. So first things first, we're going to just kind of go along the tips of all the wings. Ooh. With that purple. And part of what we're going to do here before we're done is go in with some black afterwards to kind of tighten everything back up, because with the airbrush and with this effect, you don't want to get too close. You kind of really want to spread it out a little. And with the tips of the wings, I try to match the pattern if I can. But with everything else, I don't worry about it too much. I don't try to make the pattern the same on the wings. But on where it's radiating out, it kind of helps to try and keep that the same or similar. So essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to make little wavy little designs wherever I kind of see fit. Again, let me get right up along the edge of the wing here. It's a pretty quick effect. The thing that takes the most time is switching the colors in and out of the airbrush. Alright, so it doesn't look like much yet, but just hold on. Hold on. I probably need a new glove. Because this glove, let me tell you. Those fingers are stiff from the amount of paint tried on this thing, but I don't like the waste. Waste not, want not, right? So something like that. Can you guys actually see that? Let me turn it over this way. So you see that bit of purple in there? Alright. Now with this effect too, I don't have to worry hardly at all about cleaning out my brush. So I'm going to throw a little water in the airbrush. Let me bring that in shot so you can see what we're doing here. Keep you all involved. Still using that Badger Patriot. Again, I really like how this one works. It's It's not as fine, so it doesn't clog up as much as my Iwata. I don't know if I've told you that. And as always, shake up your paints, right? Oh, look, you can kind of see me in the reflection there. Hi! Hi there! Thumbs up. Yeah, look at the paint on these gloves. Like, it's so crunchy and crispy. But, it is what it is. Alright, so a couple drips here. Drip, 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 drip. Okay. So we might have to spray just a little to get the water and the pink and the purple out. There we go. See that? Now we got our pink. And what we're going to do is just spray a little bit more of the tips. This is where you can make just a tip joke if you really wanted to. I'm clearly above all of that childish humor, but you know, if you guys want to make it, I won't judge you. Let's see, we kind of make the tips of those wings stand out with that pink. Yeah, that really isn't the best light source for you guys, is it? Let me move this around like this. See how this works for you. Not paint my. Oh boy, that is really difficult, and the camera is right in the lens, or right in the light. All right, so let's paint those tips here. All right, so something like that, and we'll just get this one down here. Just a little bit. Get the top of it too. Ended up getting the whole thing, but we're going to go back in with black, so don't worry about that. I think it looks like that light's radiating out of the wings. And I guess now that I'm getting some color on there, it's a little easier to see too. So, yeah. So I really appreciate a lot of people subscribing for what was just kind of a little video I wanted to do for, you know, some of my friends that I used to hobby and game with. Unless you guys down in Connecticut, anybody that's watching this, or anybody that's moved from Connecticut that still watches, or I miss you. I miss all of you. I love all of you guys. If there's anything you want to see, oh, I think we're out of paint. If there's anything you want to see, I've got a couple ideas for a couple things I want to do, because with this Stormcast army, I've got kind of a cool patina effect. I want to show you guys how I get that, because it's one of those kind of cool paint schemes. It's pretty easy to do, but sometimes you can struggle to get it to kind of really look, if you're kind of going for that realistic look. And I think my recipe is pretty good for getting it a pretty realistic effect. So with the purple and the pink, both of them are kind of using some warm colors, as in they're kind of a little more red than blue based. So once I start bringing that blue in the next step, you're really going to see this start to come to life here. Right now it's kind of a pink mess. But once you start getting the blue in, then you can go back. I end up probably going back between some of these colors a couple times maybe. We'll try and keep this one simple just to give you a proof of concept here. But don't be afraid to go back in there. You could do yellows and greens, whatever you're doing. You work through the colors. You work through them. Alright, clean this out. Like you can see just a little bit of the airbrush cleaner. Alright. Is that the blue I want? Is there any blue in there? Yep, a little bit. I'm almost out of that blue, so that's probably the one I've been using. That's how you know, right? Alright, and our blue is good to go. So some of the tips I'll leave pink, some of them I'll get a little blue on the edge, and we'll just kind of mix it up as we go. And I'm going to get a little closer to try to keep the blue tight. And again, there's no real rhyme or reason to how you do it. You just kind of throw it in there, whatever looks good. So, again, look at a couple pictures of what these things really look like to get an idea of what you're going for. What do you guys think about Stormcast? I know most of the people that probably watch this got in watching the 40K stuff I do, and I think there's more 40K gamers out there, but what do you think of Age of Sigmar and them Stormcasts? I think they're pretty sweet, but if you've been watching my videos, you know I love things like the Terminators and the big models, right? I'm kind of a big elite guy. I don't really like the horde and the disposable kind of stuff. I like that big serious stuff. Alright, let's brighten up some of that blue. That's kind of a good just general tip as well with the airbrush. When you're putting on layers, just doing the exact same color again a second time can sometimes get you even a different effect. And make things kind of get you just some extra layering in there, right? Like that's... Even that second coat of blue kind of looks different than the last one. I think I'm going to... Oh, I got a lot of this blue left. I'm going to try not to waste it, since especially I'm low on blue. And we're just going to waste it because I can't get the top off. There it goes, purge it. She purge. Actually, she burns, but what are you going to do? Take a little white. So I should have shown you at least if you're using these paints, the pink I'm using, it's a Lust Pink. And then the blue this time was a Spell Slinger blue. But I also use a Lagoon blue. It's a little darker, which I'm probably going to want to use in a minute. So I'm going to actually go to white for a second here. Not much white. And I don't care if it has some of the other colors in it. I didn't even really hardly rinse it. So blue, there we go. It's a little better. So we're going to try to kiss just the tips of these a little bit. Oh boy, did I just say kiss the tip? I did. Didn't mean it, guys, but please have fun with it. Take that little sound bite and run with it if you like. Alright, see that? Kind of get those tips kind of glowing. Especially with these prosecutors, man. If you've ever tried to play with these models, these things are a nightmare, and I'm a friggin' idiot. Look at how wide I made his wings. I didn't try to tuck him back or anything. You try to pile that guy into combat with anything, good luck. Stupid, but they look sweet. And that's kind of one of the things that drew me to these guys. Plus, I play Blood Angels, so they would make some kick-ass Sanguinary Guard. Right? Counts as Sanguinary Guard, if you guys allow it. Alright. We're just trying to lighten up a few of these little spots again, especially right near the... I think I gotta blast some paint out. Yeah, the white is actually, with this paint, is a pretty thick paint, all things considered. And I put on way too much there, but that's okay, we're gonna tighten it up. That's another nice thing, airbrush, so many layers, it's so thin that you can really do a lot of layers. So, let's, take some water, get it on a Q-tip, because I need to get all that shit off the end of there. I don't think I've gone out of my way to make this family friendly or the opposite, so I apologize if the S word bothers you. It's just part of growing up, I suppose. There we go. But so what I was saying about the white is the white's a pretty thick paint, all things considered, from this set. So it actually clogs up the airbrush quite a bit. So when you're trying to get just a little like, see how very little I'm just kind of putting on there? When you're trying to do just a little like that, man, this white is sometimes just does not want to allow it. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. Even that bright spot right there won't look that bad once I paint those little metal bits. I paint that brass, so you won't see it that much. So it's kind of a cool little color thing going on in there too. Anyway, so how's everybody been? What's the last 2 years been like for you? Hope you're still having fun. painting, getting it done. Yeah, my little boy's growing up. He'll be 3. Crazy how time flies. So he really, really likes rolling dice. So I think I'm going to be able to get him into Warhammer without much effort. So 3, I think, is a little early to start. So unless he's playing orcs, right? Just push it forward. Ooh, is that a low blow? I don't know. You tell me. All right. So this is that darker blue now. This is that lagoon blue, and I'm going to use it to kind of go back in and tidy up some of the edges, and now the blue over the white will kind of give me a slightly different effect. So you really want to put on a handful of layers. It's going to add that depth to the colors you're putting down, and it's really going to make, that's kind of what makes a difference. If you just try to do this in just a couple little thin coats, it's not really going to give you the same effect. So don't be afraid to go back and forth until you get it looking just right. So I'm pretty happy with that. We're gonna let that one lie, as it were. Whoa! That's how you don't put your nozzle all the way in the hole. That one I sort of did intentionally. I realized mid-sentence what I was saying, so I just I went the dirty route. You dirty, dirty birds. Oh shit balls. I didn't bring my black paint up. Do I have any Raven black up here? Oh shit. I don't really want to do it with primer, because primer is like a much flatter color than the I got some anyway. I got an extra one. This is probably one of the extra ones I got at Battle for Salvation when I won this airbrush a few years back. So alright. So now we're just gonna, black especially, you can kind of, you don't have to worry about cleaning your airbrush hardly at all with black. You takes over whatever color you're spraying in there. So. Alright, we got our black going. So what we're gonna do is just kind of now tighten this up. So where it's blurred out a little bit too much, there's almost like no real black spots left on this, and that's not really what we want either. We're going to kind of bring everything back a little. Make the bits we want to stand out a little bit. So. You can't be afraid to cover up good work. That's part of what really makes a difference. If you can really get something looking good and just destroy it and hide it, especially true with like green stuff. I found sometimes I get things looking really good the way I want, but I need to put something else over it. Like, you know, it's just part of what it is. Right. I'm kind of rushing through this one a little bit. I'd probably do it a little tighter, or tweak a little bit of this. I'm not 100% happy with how all of these little bits are here. But, sorry, I got that one kind of out of frame. That's pretty good. Alright, so now I do need to clean my brush out relatively good. That's what happens when you don't put the nozzle in. I did it again, didn't I? So I'm going to fill this up with a little bit of water. And just going to jam some paper towel in there. In the water, give it a little twist. Yuck. And if you look in there, that's actually pretty clean. There's some gunk at the bottom, but that'll easily come out with water now. It's getting all the stuff off the sides. It's kind of tough with the water. Alright. Alright. Get all the water out of the brush. So now what we're going to do, this is actually kind of fun. We got to put stars on it. Stars! Oh, wow, this is going on 20 minutes. I better hurry up. But it's not too bad for walking you through it and getting that effect done. 20 minutes is time well spent. So what I'm going to do the star effect, real easy. What I'm going to do, and actually I can show you my gloves real easy here too first, is I'm going to pull the lever back. but I'm not going to push down, so I'm not getting any air spraying out. And then I'm going to have, essentially that's going to get a little bit of white paint on the tip, and then I just blast air without pulling back. Just push air down. Right, see that? Now that's a little more than I wanted, and it's still a little wet. Let me make sure that my paint's flowing right. So we're just going to pull back probably twice. 1, 2, and then I'm just going to push the button down without, see that? It's actually looking a lot, there you go. So if I do that from, instead of being like close like this, I do this from really far back. Let's see what happens. So we'll go 1, 2, 1. Actually, the paint's flowing pretty good now. And I'm back like 8 to 10 inches. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Do another one on the other side. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. One more for good luck on this side. One more for good luck on this side. And there she had. Oh, I'm sure I probably had that almost all out of frame, but that's what you do. Let me show you on. Let me show you on this guy's cape. I'm going to end up doing the capes on all these guys too. Ooh, shit. That's it. See that? And it gets you a nice even pattern. Some of the big ones look like big stars, some of the little ones look like little stars, and I'm going to paint over this guy anyway. So it's going to be good. So there you have it. So yeah, we go, that's close to what we ended up with here, right? So now you guys looking at this, you can kind of see that. I believe on this one I might have put a gloss coat and then a matte coat over it to kind of protect the wings because they get handled a lot. But yeah, and then from here, if you guys want to see, I can show you kind of how I do that that patina verdigris effect. I can show you how I paint these shields. We can get into all that. So yeah, let me know what you want and stick around, and